devalues their genuine contribution to Kenya's development. Young Kenyans have shown remarkable dedication and initiative in advocating for positive change. Their voices are not just essential but inspiring in shaping the future of our nation, and they deserve to be heard and respected. We are alarmed by the unprecedented violent crackdowns, abductions, and disappearance of Kenyans who have expressed concern over the state of governance and human rights in Kenya. We see the intimidation of civil society organizations as an extension of ongoing general repression against civic space and human rights defenders. In recent weeks, prominent human rights organizations in the country have been subjected to an increase in acts of intimidation, harassment, and threats by the authorities, as well as threats against partners that fund their human rights work. These attacks and threats have also been unleashed upon the media and individual journalists. We call upon the government and all stakeholders to protect the Kenyan civic space. CSOs must be allowed to operate without undue interference or baseless accusations. The Constitution of Kenya guarantees the right to peaceful protest and freedom of expression. These rights must be protected and honored, not only for CSOs, but for every Kenyan.
So I'm Martin Mavenjina. I work with the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and I'll continue with the next segment of the statement. We reiterate the calls for young people and other advocates of the Constitution of Kenya to be followed to the letter. Unlawful action by goons, police, and other state agents must cease immediately. We demand for the strict accountability in the budget-making process, the thorough audit of public debt that has crippled the service, and the intersection and prosecution of all those accused of corruption and theft of public money. The rule of law is paramount, and that all parties must be held to account for their actions. In conclusion, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to supporting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. We stand in solidarity with civil society organizations and Kenyans that continue to champion these values, and we urge the government to recognize and respect their indispensable role in our nation's progress. This statement is signed by a collection of civil society organizations. At this point in time, we would now invite questions from yourselves to any of our colleagues in front here. Thank you.
Well, be sure to get a detailed update on that story later on. Now, Siaya Governor James Orengo has vehemently opposed the idea of Azimio leader Raila Odinga joining President William Ruto's broad-based government, terming it as an abomination, a disaster, and something that cannot work. Orengo emphasized the need for justice for families affected by the recent protest, saying prioritizing their plight is important over political maneuvering for positions. He was speaking in North Alego, Siaya County on Friday during the burial of 25-year-old Kevin Onyango, who was killed during the anti-government protests.
Me as James Agre Orengo, putting aside even my position as a governor, that justice must be done. We cannot kill our people, and the time when we are mourning them, we are looking for officers. That cannot happen. We must first deal with injustice before we can deal with questions that arise out of that injustice. So I'm praying that Kenyans will listen to the voices of mothers like Mother Kevin, to see that justice is done. Justice is done. And I want to say, those who are in a rush to join Ruto, that Ruto is a passing cloud. I am saying that without a fear of contradiction, because Ruto now has no money, because he's been borrowing, and the Kenyans have told him, you cannot borrow. Ruto has said no taxation, but he said he is continuing to taxation, and he refused taxation through the finance bill, so he cannot tax Kenyans. Ruto has lost the confidence of the international community. So, Where is Ruto going to take us? Ruto is taking us into a sinking ship. And I'm urging everybody that joining Ruto is a disaster, is an abomination. It cannot work. When we say Ruto must go with all his people. The entire government must go. Nobody's going to remain there.
Elsewhere, Isiolo members of County Assembly have lauded President William Ruto for his decision to reappoint Professor Kithure Kindiki to Cabinet as the Interior Cabinet Secretary. Speaking after the news of his reappointment, the MCS said that Prof. Kindiki has done commendable work in the ministry. Ian Keitani looks at the reactions from different areas following the naming of the President's first 11 cabinet.
The decision by President William Ruto to nominate 11 cabinet secretaries has been met with the jubilation and melancholia in equal measure across various parts of the country. As announced by the head of state at State House, Nairobi, 6 CSs from the previous cabinet were considered for reappointment. In Kandara, Murang'a County, residents took to the streets to celebrate the nomination of Alice Wahome as the CS for lands. The former Kandara lawmaker could not hide her joy, expressing gratitude to the head of state while calling on Kenyans to maintain peace, as nobody would want to see the country thrown into anarchy. Elsewhere in Isiolo County, residents led by Oldonyiro Ward MCA David Lamantile lauded the president's decision to nominate Professor Kithure Kindiki, citing the commendable work the CS had done in tackling banditry during his short stint as Interior CS.
Hata kama kidogo kulikuwa na marekebisho pengine ulifanya katika baraza lako la mawaziri, umefanya mzuri sana kurudisha Kindiki ndiye aweze kuendeleza ile kazi alikuwa naye ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya iko na amani. Na pia katika Lower Mount Kenya tunajua kwamba waziri Kindiki ameweza kuunganisha watu. Ameweza kuunganisha watu wote ambao wanaishi katika area hii bila kubagua mtu yote katika minajili ya ukabila.
Raia. Ya pili, amekuwa ni mtu ambaye anakuja kwa ground. Yeye sio mtu akukaa kwa ofisi, anatembea na kujua shida ya wananchi. Kama Isiolo amekuja, Isiolo I think amekuja mara mingi sana. Amekuja karibu zaidi ya mara 10 kutembelea kujua hali ya Isiolo. Na ameengage sana viongozi na ameengage mpaka raia na kusikiza na kujua shida ni nini. Sisi tunampongeza Kindiki kwa sababu hiyo nafasi amerudi. Tunajua ameperform kwa mambo ya security sana. Ukiangalia upande wa Rift Valley, sehemu za Turkana na Pokot wizi imepungua hata ile mauaji.
With eyes now set on Parliament for the vetting process, Manyata MP Gitanga Mukunji has noted that the vetting process must be done rigorously to ensure that the nominees are suitable, insisting that the nominee for Agriculture, Dr. Andrew Karanja, must prioritize payment to coffee farmers if he will be approved by the House.
Tukirudi bunge, tunarudi kumfanya vetting. Mtu yoyote ambaye wananchi hawaoni yako sawa, mimi nitafanya public participation. Ndio nikienda bunge nijue na represent idea na ile maneno ambayo wananchi wameniambia, ili niweze kuwa sawa katika representation yangu. Ule waziri mpya amepewa maneno ya agriculture, ajue watu wetu hawajapata pesa ya kahawa almost close to 1 year, aweze kuwashughulikia hiyo maneno na tuweze kukua sawa.
Ian Keitani, K24 Newscast.
5 people, among them a police officer, were arrested in Kitui town for masquerading as officers from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The suspects, who attempted to apprehend a senior official from the Ministry of Finance in Kitui County, are being held at Kitui Police Station, awaiting further investigations. Kitui Police OCPD Peter Karanja urged the public to be vigilant and report any suspicious incidents.
There was suspicion whether they were real employees of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We sent our officers from Kitui Police Station, and when they met the purported officers, they were somehow suspicious. They brought them to the station, and we were able to establish that the badges all of them had were reading chief executive officers of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We have contacted the regional manager, Eastern Region, who is sending his team to come and verify whether these are genuine employees of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We are having 5 suspects with us, whom we are still processing, and we are urging members of the public to be on close lookout should there be members purporting to be either police officers who are not able to identify themselves positively, to make a call to the police or the DCI for action to be taken. The suspects that we have in our custody are 5. And those are the people that were found at the scene and were brought at the police station here.
Well, on that note, we take a very short break. More stories to come. Stay with us.
Of emotions, relationships.
Kumbe mama, ulikuwa unafikiria kuolewa tena? Yaani